Members, this is a bill we all know as the NIL bill. You know, there was an agreement between the NCAA and student athletes. This will allow the state of Arkansas ultimately to do profit sharing with our student athletes to keep us competitive. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of Senator Hester? Okay, first I think I had Senator Hill, and then I'll go to you, Senator English. Senator Hill, you're first.
Senator Hester, what's the purpose behind this to make student athletes tax exempt from state? No other citizen is tax exempt like that. Why are they special?
Well, that's a great question. We are treating them differently on this, but this is only on the money that the universities pay the students. We're not going to charge taxes, and that's just to keep us competitive with Tennessee and Texas and other states that do not have a state income tax. But should those student athletes receive money from an outside business of some sort, that will be taxable.
Okay, Senator English, you're recognized for a question.
So, as I read the bill, it basically says these students are not going to pay any state income tax. I have a problem with that. I'm thinking here are kids that are making $200,000 and $300,000, $400,000, and they're not paying any state, and the rest of our kids are all paying. So, can you explain that to me? I understand competitive, but can you explain that to me?
No, so the one thing I will say, it's only on the money that the university pays them directly, or we're not going to charge them income taxes on. But all the other, where you're seeing these huge amounts of money come, those are from outside businesses. But you're right, we assume that this will be a state income impact of about $300,000 a year.
So how are we going to discern between what's coming in, and are they going to be filing taxes? It's a very transparent and clear process. There's a clearinghouse that works through each of the universities. It will be a very transparent process. I just think it's kind of hard for all of our young people who are going to school, paying their bills. Thank you.
Any other questions of Senator Hester? I believe Senator Payton, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm confused. I thought under NIL they weren't being paid by the university. They were being paid from outside sources. So what portion of the NIL money is allowed to be paid from the university?
Well, it's up to each university, but there's a profit sharing plan agreed on with the NCAA in the settlement of that lawsuit. So our universities do not have to participate, but if they choose to, I can tell you, and this number may not be exactly right, but I believe from the University of Arkansas, they estimate paying out about $20 million a year.
Well, I'd sure like to have a break on my income taxes. Thank you.
All you have to do is be elite at what you do in athletics.
Okay, Senator Murdoch, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Senator Hester. I support this bill, but I did not know, or I missed about the state income tax piece. What's the purpose of that, of why they're not paying state income tax?
Well, look, it's all about competitiveness, and if we're competing with a student from that's looking at Texas or Tennessee where they don't have any income tax, then it means our universities have to pay ultimately more just to be even.
Okay, thank you.
Senator Mark Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Excuse me, Senator Hester, this revenue that's being shared, that's the revenue the university or the athletic department gets. For example, you go to a bowl game, you get $1 million. It's probably a lot more than that now, but you get $1 million. That's the revenue we're sharing, correct?
There is that revenue. There's, TV revenue. And
same kind of thing,
that's right.
Yes, sir. But it's the earned revenue that's paid to the athletic department for sports.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Hill, and then Senator King.
Senator Hester, you said it was about $20 million being paid out by the university?
There will be, it's estimated, depending on what their revenues are next year.
So that should be more than $300,000 tax.
Well, you got to assume that we don't know what each tax rate is because, if there will be a lot of these students that have zero income, they may get $10,000, well, that won't be taxable because they don't make enough money to be taxed. So this money is shared amongst all athletes, or a vast majority of them, not just a few that are going to be making huge amounts of money.
Okay, thank you.
Senator King, you're recognized, sir.
Yeah, and I may have missed it. So the ones making huge amounts of money will pay no income tax?
No, only on the portion that they receive from the university. So if they have a bigger revenue, a bigger deal with a local Ford dealership, that will be taxable.
So if a student's working in another area to come up with some medical device or something,
Then they would pay taxes on that, absolutely.
okay.
Senator Payton, you recognize, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. So we recently advanced a bill to make sure that kids, teenagers, students, when they work on a regular job, have to make sure they get a pay stub, which is going to force all the withholdings and regular employment taxes on those kids that are just working a 10 or 15 hour a week job, making, a little lunch money. But we're going to let the student athletes go without income tax here?
That's right, and I appreciate your caring about all the students. We want to continue to make our income tax rate down to zero so that no one has to pay it.